What's in the stars and the cards ahead for you this week? Welcome to the weekly energy weather report with me, Irina, where we dive into all of the astrology, what the moon is doing, how to navigate it as an empath. And it is a joy to have you as you hop on. Give me a quick hello, because this week the energy of the moon is in a waning state. We had a beautiful full moon last week, but now it's a more inward turn where you might feel a little bit more introverted, a little bit more wanting to just have some time to be away from the noise of the world. And as an empath, it's important that you learn how to protect your energy management. I had a friend share something over the weekend. I saw a post she made, and she said she has worked in all walks of life. She has worked in corporate side of life. She's been a stay-at-home parent. She has been an entrepreneur. She's been a teacher. She's done so many different things. And what she realizes is that at the core of it, energy management is key. And when you're an empath, somebody who feels very deeply, we pick up on things that maybe not everyone does. We might be a little bit more affected by the chaos and the craziness. It's very challenging during busy times, especially holidays, when we're around so many people, family members, and there's so much expected. We can get drained so easily. So I want to talk today about 3 ways to manage your energy, to protect your energy as an empath, so that you can still go out and enjoy life, be a part of it, and protect your energy while you're doing it. Hello, Julie. So great that you're here. Susan, fantastic to have you. Glad you can be here until then. So let's dive into this without further ado. I invite you to place your hand on your heart. Let's tune in and just ask, what's the most important message that you need to know going into this week ahead? And I see who pops up. 7 of Cups. And this is very interesting. It's interesting for a couple of different reasons that I'll get into in a moment. But 7 of Cups is a little bit of overwhelm with choices. There can be a little bit of confusion, not understanding fully what is in front of us. So it could be a little, I want to stay with that word illusion. It's not so much about deception. It's about having a difficult time seeing through the fogginess of the moment. It's kind of like if you live in an area where there's fog in the morning, you can only see so far in front of you. So before you make any decisions or choices, take a moment to ground. And that actually leads me to the very first part of what I want to share with you to protect your energy, which is breathe. When you take a moment to take deep belly breaths, and not just shallow upper lung breaths where the chest is rising and falling. It's a very common thing throughout the day that we tend to just breathe into the upper portion of our lung, and we feel the chest rising and falling. But what happens is, we have stress that we encounter throughout our day. And if we're only taking those shallow upper lung chest breaths, we're triggering the little cilia up there, like we have in our nose, almost little hair-like things, that are sending a signal to our nervous system that we're in fight or flight, that we're in a dangerous situation. When you can take a deeper belly breath, which just means, in the yogis, we called it a 3-part complete breath. You're breathing into the chest area, the ribs. You feel your belly expand, because as the oxygen fills your lungs, it presses down on the diaphragm and the belly extends out. And then when we exhale, we get that tummy tone, the diaphragm engages, and you're able to expel all of the air. The other portion of this, and even before I go there, is a reason for the deep belly breath, why that helps us really ground, is when we take the deeper breath and it gets into the lower portion of the lung, the cilia down there send a message to our nervous system that says, yes, we're under stress, but we're not in danger of losing our lives. We don't have to go into that extra adrenal cortisol pumping state of run from the saber-toothed tiger. But we can move through this moment present and grounded. So as you're going through this week, make sure before you make any decision, take 10 deep belly breaths, or 5 at least. And that's something that I love to teach, the breath work. In yoga, we call it pranayama. Prana is our energy, our life force. And when you take that deep belly breath, That's going to help you manage your energy, so you're not running around in fight or flight and losing a lot. Okay, so as we look at this week ahead, we already talked about how the energy of the moon is getting darker, it's waning. The other thing that you might start to feel is just like that moment before a big shift. It's almost kind of like this quieting before something changes. When something whispers deep inside, okay, it's time. It's time to release the clutter, release the old identity, so that you can finally have room and space for what's been waiting in the wings. And this week carries an energy similar to that. It's a time of shedding. And Neptune, the planet of sometimes confusion and illusion, that's why I was giggling when this card came up, and sometimes a little bit of fogginess, but it helps us to not only dissolve things, but also tune into our intuition. So he has to make a decision, but he may not be able to use his normal decision-making faculties like his eyeballs or his knowledge, but to go into his sixth sense or into your sixth sense to make the choice or decision. Did you ever play that game when you were little where you might put like a blindfold on or an eye mask and walk around your house and try to find your way? It's kind of one of those weeks where you may not have use of one of your normal everyday senses, in the sense of, how do I want to say this? It's just kind of like giving you an opportunity to try something a little bit different, like brushing your teeth with the other hand, because maybe that shoulder is feeling tired. Or I know for me, even when I sleep at night, I love to sleep on my side, I love to sleep on my left side. My left shoulder does not like that. So I'm having to get used to sleeping on my right shoulder, and it's a process. It's a learning experience. So anyway, sleeping on back, sides, whatever, that's a whole can of worms for another adventure. But it's retraining ourself to utilize a different way of living this week. So with that being said, if an invitation is kind of served up, I want to invite you to say, an invitation to let go of something. Take a moment to take that deep breath, be grounded and present, and say, okay, is this opening up new possibilities for me? When Neptune is moving into what's called, let me put it this way. Neptune's been basically looking like they're going backwards in the heavens above in a retrograde fashion. And this week, what Neptune is doing is called stationing direct, which means he's just coming to a stop in the heavens like a big ship. And before he starts going forward once again, there's this moment where it's a final goodbye to the Piscean energy where he's been hanging out, of tuning into intuition, of our spiritual connections, our spiritual practices. There's a moment where he's getting ready to say goodbye. And at the end of January or beginning of February, can't remember the exact date now, he's going to leave Pisces forever because he's been hanging out with Pisces energy, Neptune, the planet, and he's never going to be back there in our lifetime. It's going to be like 145 years or so before he's back again. So for us, this is a final moment to say, okay, where have I been creating illusion in my life? Where have I been trying to utilize senses that might be keeping me stuck? How can I really tune into my intuition, my gut knowing, to help me navigate life? And that's kind of part of the practices that I'm sharing with you today with energy management. So remember, first thing to do is nice, deep belly breaths. Breathe. And remember that being an empath this week is your superpower, embodying those gifts, your intuitive gifts. And Neptune is going to help you really kind of make that final connection of awareness. And I don't even want to say final, but there's, it's in Pisces. So giving you that opportunity to say, how do I want to connect with my intuition? Okay. With that being said, know that in addition to the breath, which helps you ground and helps you practice discernment is going to be key this week. discovering what might be illusion and what is reality. There's so much coming across our screens right now, whether it's AI generated, whether it's holiday emails, offers, or newsletters from people. Click this, I need your feedback, download now. There can be a lot of confusion. And when we're already running fast, when we've got so many things that we're juggling, it makes it difficult to be present and to discern. So keep breathing. And by the way, if we haven't met yet, let me just take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Irina Miller. I'm an astrologer, a spiritual life guide, and what I call an energy alchemist. And it is my joy to help guide you through the techniques, the sacred practices of working with your intuition, cultivating it, strengthening it, how to do that with the moon, how to use the energy of the week ahead so that in a hectic world, you can stay grounded and really be at the right place at the right time. If this is something that you really enjoy learning about, please do make sure to like, subscribe, share it with another empathic friend who could benefit from it. And I am so, so grateful for your help and for you being here. So with that being said, let's talk about the week ahead and just look at the overarching energy, big picture. So you already know the moon is getting darker. And on Thursday, it's going to get to this last quarter moon phase, which is a point that I really see as healing. It's a moment to say, okay, I'm not going to beat myself up over past choices. In fact, I'm going to take a moment to heal any heart wounds that I might have about actions or decisions I may have made that didn't get me to my end goal, that may have even been a detriment. Or maybe I didn't show up where I wanted to or how I wanted to. So doing a healing heart practice, something like the Ho'oponopono, can be very powerful. And the Ho'oponopono practice comes from ancient Hawaiian traditions, and there's 4 lines to it. And the first one is, I'm sorry. Second one, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you say that. And you say that to someone that you may have wronged. You can say it to yourself. If you've been wronged and you're kind of waiting for that apology, or you're waiting for the healing and the validation from someone else, don't wait. Just say it to yourself and feel that healing in your heart. It is a powerful practice. I have used it so many times, especially when I've made, in hindsight, what looks like really stupid mistakes. So kindness. Why? Well, because when you do that, again, you're able to be more present in your body and have the deep breath. Because what happens is when we're in anxiety, in that shallow breathing, we tend to want to escape the moment. We don't want to feel it. It's too much, right? The pain of it, or the frustration, or the not knowing. So we tend to get into the overs, the overthinking, the overdoing, the overworking, the overgiving. And we think that will keep us going enough. Maybe we'll be so exhausted by the end of the night, we fall into bed and just fall into a deep sleep. But it's just distracting us from what is been there all along, causing the pain or the discomfort. So when you can take that deep breath and do a healing practice and look at what's going on, it becomes very empowering. You name it to claim it. And then it takes the power away from the thing that might have been keeping you in that cycle of overworking, overdoing, overthinking. And thank you for all the hearts, Julie. I love it. And Susan, you said, interesting, your cards for today, this week, are involved with nourishment and observation, stepping back. Fabulous. Oh, I get chills, Susan. I love being able to do this live and be with everyone in community, because I love how we can have this conversation and dialogue. It's awesome, because here, this leads me to the second part of energy management this week, which I'm coming up with a little acronym to help you remember it. So the first one is B for breathe. The second one is E for exit, and take some time in quiet. So it's kind of like make your exit and just step into a quiet space. It could be taking a little bit longer in the bathroom, because we don't always have the ability to kind of go away to a Himalayan cave or a beautiful cabin in the woods, but make your exit plan. Spend some time in the quiet, whether you go for a walk in the quiet, or you drive in the quiet, or you just spend more time in your bathroom or your closet in the morning. That's what I do. I spend like 10 to 15 minutes in my dark closet in the morning, and I just sit there and I do these energy practices that I share with you. And the reason that I do it is it sets the tone for the day. I do my deep breath, the B, I breathe. I make that exit to the closet very quickly because it's so easy to get wrapped up in, work, because I love the work I do. So when I leave my room and I come to my office, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to dig in and learn and connect and play and teach and share. So I have to really be disciplined. Go to the closet, make your exit, and just step into the quiet. Because what you're doing is you're strengthening your intuitive muscle, making that connection to your gut even stronger so that you can hear the intuitive guidance coming through. Essentially, it's time with you and God, or with universe, whatever you name that higher power, or your spirit guides, or your loved ones on the other side. That time in the quiet where you've made your little exit plan to just unplug enables you not to be swept up in the chaos of the day, because it's so easy. And I do this, so, no judgment. Alarm goes off, it's our phone, we turn off the alarm, and we're like, oh, look at that notification. Oh, let me check this. Oh, let me check that. And like an hour goes by or more. And we're all stimulated. Holy cannoli. No, you take your nice deep breath, breathe, make your exit plan, get out of bed, get into the dark, or throughout your day, deep belly breaths, get into the quiet, because that's going to help all that noise, everything that's competing for your attention, which causes the confusion and the haziness. Like, I don't know, what do I do? They're telling me to do this and they're telling me to do that, blah, 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 blah. No, you're able to discern and make a decision that's not draining your energy, because you've taken the deep belly breath. So you're not in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. And you've spent some time in the quiet. And while you're in the quiet, that we do the third part, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But let's just, again, get back into the energy of this week ahead before I get too far off track. Because today, Monday, Mars has this deep conversation with Saturn. So Mars, the planet of our drive, our energy, our ambition, our energy. Did I say energy? I might have. Driving that home, is having a little bit of I got to come to an understanding with Saturn, discipline, routine. Well, it's maybe more structure than routine. And so it's like, all right, I have all this energy and I need to make sure I channel it. If I don't, there might be frustrations. It's like that old phrase, discipline equals freedom. We might say, oh, I want to eat intuitively. I want to do my practices intuitively. That's awesome. But many times in the early days, as we're looking to hone our intuitive abilities, having disciplined practices, routines, schedules, enables us to have the freedom to trust our intuition without second guessing and doubting. So today's a great day to work on that. Then on Wednesday, Neptune, the planet of imagination, intuition, sometimes illusion, sometimes fogginess, sometimes a dissolving energy, stops that backwards motion. It's like this big ship coming to a pause, and it does what's called stationing. And we're making those final goodbyes to the Piscean energy and realizing how much our intuition, how much the power of our thought can shape our life and our experience. You might even have certain intuitive knowings that come through that day, or spiritual truths that rise to the surface. We also have the planet of communication and thought and intellect, Mercury, having a little balancing act experience with the planet of revelation and breakdown for breakthrough, Uranus. So you might on Wednesday have surprising insights or conversations as well, or shifts in perspectives. So Wednesday would be a great day. And again, we'll go day by day, but to have time to really step away from the noise of the world, make that exit plan and just get into a quiet space. And then on Thursday, planet of communication, good old Mercury, is working really well with Neptune, the planet of intuition and imagination. And you might feel that you're really stepping into the flow of energy. Great day for intuitive downloads. Maybe you want to channel your intuition, or you feel like, I'm working with the muse. I want to go deeper with this. Pay attention to your dreams Thursday night. Thursday, Mercury also, after he has that conversation with Neptune, moves out of the Scorpio energy, which has been really deep and intense and looking for what's been hidden beneath the surface so we can do deep healing. Shadow work is what we call it in the energy world. He's moving into the energy of Sagittarius, where there's a bigger thought picture coming up. Optimism, expansion, where we might find ourselves getting a little bit bolder, really looking for that truth, and maybe even being a little bit more open or forthcoming with what we're picking up on. We're not, how do I want to say, flavoring, shaping, blending. There's another word that I want, kind of like tempering our words. The wonderful thing about the Sagittarian energy is they're very direct and they tell you like it is because they love you. They don't want to sugarcoat it because it might be confusing and you might not understand. Whereas the Libras like to sugarcoat things. Oh, I giggle because I'm a Libra. And it's like, come on, just learn from the Sagittarians, just be direct. But sometimes being direct some people can be like, ooh, that hurts. Like somebody comes up to you and you're like, your breath stinks. You're like, oh, what? Couldn't you been like, here, have a mint. Our Sagittarian friends are like, forget it. I love you too much to just not be direct and tell you. Your breath stinks, have a mint. All right. Then on Friday morning, the moon goes void, of course, for a short time. So let me get those exact moments because I didn't write that in my notes on the screen. And it's nice to know. Okay, 9:51 a.m. Eastern to 11:04 a.m. And why that's important to know is that if you're on East Coast, and please adjust for your time zone, that might be somewhat at the beginning of the workday or mid-work day. Just be careful because when the moon is void, of course, it's not a time to start anything new or to buy anything big or sign contracts. It's more of a time for reflection or wrapping up projects, doing admin work, not having important meetings. If you do those things, sometimes there's extra frustrations because it's kind of like a Mercury retrograde when the moon is void, of course, which basically means the moon isn't having conversations with other planets. She's not working. She's taking a little bit of a rest in the heavens above. And she's saying, you should kind of just go with the flow as well. Don't try to accomplish big things because if we try, the old saying goes, nothing will come of it. And then that gets frustrating or we have to do it again. And that's also frustrating. All right, Saturday, Mercury, planet of communication, is working really well with the planet of transformation, Pluto. So there might be incredible, deep, powerful insights that come through or aha moments. These moments, Pluto can be a planet that also represents power. It's a planet that says, okay, we have to realize that some things run their course. And Mercury says, all right, well, let's have this conversation. Let's be honest about it. Let's get to the bottom so that we can move forward. Remembering that the energy of the week is waning, which is about decluttering, letting go. And then finally, Mars, the planet of energy, drive, ambition, is having a little bit of a deeper, more challenging conversation with Neptune, the planet of intuition, and saying, don't push. Mars wants to go and do it. And our intuition with Neptune is saying, okay, whoa, before you take any actions, let's take a deep breath. And something is making us uncomfortable that wants us to take action. But before you do, practice the first two things of energy management. Breathe, deep breath, exit, get into a quiet spot so you can unplug from the world and you can just connect with your God and with God, your guides, spirit, whatever that higher power goes by for you. And that leads me to the final thing before we go day by day and break it down to the third way to manage your energy. And the last one is really recognizing that you don't have to do this alone, but trust that you have friends in high places. And trust comes from having faith and having that quiet conversation with God. And so think of it like bet. You're betting on the universe, you're betting on God, you're betting on yourself, you're betting on the angels. You breathe for energy management, you exit, meaning you get into the quiet place, and then T, you're trusting. Now, how does it show up to trust? Well, it means that you remember you have free will. So God, the angels, your guides, they're not going to step in and assist. They're honoring your free will. They're not coming in unless you directly ask for that support and help. So having a little prayer in the morning is super helpful that basically says, hey, God, please guide me and direct me, show me the way so that I can really show up in the right places at the right time. And I love this little sing-songy rhyming prayer because it's easy to remember. And I always say it in the morning, and it goes like this. May God go before me and show me the way. May angels watch and protect me throughout the day. You can always add on to that. You can shorten it. You can make it your own, however you want. But essentially, you're saying, God, please go before me. Like, clear the path or place the obstacles in case I don't want to go off a cliff, right? Show me the way. What are my next best steps? We don't need to know the whole path. We just need to know the next best steps. Sometimes knowing the whole path to get to our goal creates more anxiety than good. You just need to know the next best steps, God. Show me the way. And then may angels watch me and protect me throughout the day. Meaning, okay, angels, I don't know about you guys, but that meme of like the angel up there going like this, I feel like that's all my angels. Like, Irina, come on. Like, I'm right here. I'm trying to get through to you. But it's hard to hear our angels and our guides if we've got all this noise and we're distracted and we're breathing just into our chest and we're like, we're not grounded. So you breathe. A deep belly breath. You get into the quiet, right? You exit, get into the quiet, and then trust by actively saying, okay, God, I trust you. Please show me the way. Thy will be done. We don't know everything. We're not omnipresent or all-knowing. Why not lean on your friends in high places, your angels, your guides, God? This isn't a life where we're meant to walk it alone or do it alone. This is a life of co-creating, of enjoying it with this beautiful divine guidance. So bet on God, bet on yourself. And that will really help you with energy management as an empath. Okay, let me see what I'm missing. And oh, Julie, headed to the very quiet of North Dakota on Wednesday. Oh my gosh, chills. That'll be perfect. Hello, Hannah. So great to have you. Fantastic, Susan. Have a great day. And yeah, catch the rest later. Okay, let's break it down day by day. Monday. So Monday, we have the Leo moon energy kicking us off. So the moon in Leo is encouraging you to shine, to be you. But with that Mars-Saturn conversation happening that I briefly mentioned, it might trigger a little bit of impatience or self-doubt. So do that bet practice. Breathe, exit into the quiet, and trust. Doing a little prayer, whatever one helps you with that day. But if anybody's grumpy around you or agitated, don't take it personally. Everybody's kind of wrestling with their own way to deal with this energy. And do one thing today that really lights up your heart that you love. The Leo moon, they want to be playful. They bring a joyfulness and a creativity to life. So do something that lights up your heart today. Follow that little thread. And if someone dismisses your empathic sensitivities, just take a moment to ground by doing those deep breaths and bring your awareness into your heart space. And as you do that, you reconnect with you, who you are, and realize that we're all here for different life experiences, and not everybody understands that or has compassion about that. Okay, let's just tune in and ask what's most important that you need to know about Monday's moon energy. Good news coming in. I love it. So keep your eyes open for wonderful news. Blessings are on their way. Give thanks for unknown blessings already on their way. 8 of Wands. Good news is coming in. Love that card. Tuesday, the moon is still in Leo. So just as a side note, I think many of you who watch this have heard me say this before, but in case you're new to the channel, welcome. The moon changes zodiac signs about every 2 to 2.5 days. And as it changes zodiac signs, it brings a slightly different flavor to the emotional experience that we encounter, different ways we can tune into our intuition, the way our energy levels are affected. So that's why I like to share with you where the moon is going to be, because if you start keeping track of like, oh, with a Leo moon, it's really hard for me to focus and work. I want to play. I want to be creative. Or I get a little more sensitive when all of my love that I share with the world isn't appreciated, or like with my family. that appreciation to a Leo energy goes a long way. They love to pour themselves into what they're doing, and they really want to show up in the most beautiful and fun way possible. So Leo moon, still playful, choose warmth and fun over worry. Remember deep breathing, that's going to help. And express your creativity through your voice, through colors, through movement. Maybe you wear something a little fun and playful. You get a great hairdo that day. Leos always have the great hair. Remembering that your intuition is going to come through even more when you play. It's like Lenny Kravitz says that creation comes from recreation. Haha, I love that. I love Lenny Kravitz. All right. How can you make the most of Tuesday's moon? I love it. Bring laughter in. Lighten it up with a little bit of laughter and humor. This is the Hierophant or Hierophant, however you like to say it. And this is about finding our spiritual path, our connection to God and the divine. Sometimes it represents traditions and rules and structure. So if you think about the overview of the week ahead, it's very similar to some of the things we were talking about with saying discipline equals freedom or a spiritual truth being revealed. But with Tuesday's energy, that pathway is beginning to lighten up. And tune into the lightheartedness of it. Whenever we take something seriously, especially intuitive spiritual work, what happens is that we can really narrow our ability to connect with angels and guides. We become very rigid in the way that things have to work. Okay, Wednesday, the moon goes into Virgo. I love Virgo moons. We get things done, organize, straighten things up, go through all the paperwork. So if you don't feel like doing the work on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll definitely feel that extra little nudge to help you out. And Neptune goes direct. So you might also feel like, oh, I'm waking up from a dream. I have more clarity. Give yourself a moment to journal on Wednesday. Pay attention to synchronicities, gut instincts or feelings. Spend time in the quiet. So that E for exit into the quiet so that you can hear your intuitive guidance. Remembering that intuition speaks in a quiet indoor voice. It's not going to shout and scream at you. Choose that stillness before you take any action. All right, let's pull a card for Wednesday. How can you make the most of Wednesday's energy? 3 of Cups. So surround yourself with community, and I'll say it that way. It really is people who understand, because here's the thing, as empaths, when we're in toxic situations, connections, friendships, communities, it really can wear on our energy levels. So being mindful of who you're spending your time with, and if you can't find the community, create the community and ask, right? That's the T from the 3 things that we do to manage our energy. When you're trusting God, right? And you're asking, show me the way to create a beautiful community. Show me the way to find that community. Show me the way to realize or recognize that maybe it's been under my nose all along. Thursday's that last quarter moon in Virgo. It's the healing heart moon as I see it. And think of it as a chance to release all the overthinking, the overdoing, the overworking, the overgiving. It's an opportunity for you to return to the trust. Virgo energy is going to help you clear out the noise, all of that clutter. Virgo's ruled by Mercury, and sometimes the mind, Mercury, wants to chatter away. But if you make your hands busy and you do the decluttering, you're going to allow yourself to release not only the physical clutter in your space, but to calm the mind and the heart as well. So know that you don't have to fix or solve everything right now. Virgo energy is fabulous at fixing things and finding solutions, but they're also very good about being effective about it. So they're encouraging you, Virgo energy, and your guides to simplify things. Don't have to make it easy. If you want to make it easy, great. But simplify it so that you can manage your energy with even more care instead of wasting that energy and exhausting yourself running in circles. Think about lightening the load. Okay, how can you make the most of that Thursday energy? Oh, okay, this is a lot of cards that popped out. All right, hold on. There's a lot of guidance. We're going to just stick to the one card. Okay, angels and guides. Who's coming out? 7 of Swords, and it's upside down. So there's a realization of Where have you been shortchanging yourself? So cards, when they're upside down, similar energies to when they're upright. There's just something overlaying it or blocking it. So the Seven of Swords is saying, okay, there are moments where we think we can kind of get away with it in the dark of the night when everybody's asleep. And the little beautiful ravens or crows are saying, oh no, we're awake and we're going to sound the alarm. And so this can sometimes be something outside of ourselves that's trying to pull a fast one on us or deceive us. Remember, Neptune is just coming to slow down. We had that Seven of Cups energy at the beginning of the week where it's like, I need to get rid of the deception, the illusion, the fog. I need clarity. So whether it's outside yourself where that confusion and fog has been coming in and things might have been slipping your attention because you've been distracted, or whether it's you shortchanging yourself saying, oh, I can get by on 4 hours of sleep a night, or one meal a day, I'm too busy to eat. Thursday saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't push it. Don't overdo it. Realize that, you're a physical human having this spiritual experience, but you're a spiritual being having a human experience. But, it's the same thing too, right? As humans, we want to have the spiritual experience. And it can be hard to remember we're playing by kind of the rules of the earth and 3D. Yes, we can raise our frequency, our vibration, and get into like that 5D vibe and go for that. Awesome. And also, we got to eat. We got to shower. We got the New York coming out in me. We have to pay our bills. We have to be physical and present. As nice as it would be to kind of spin up and off the planet, that'll come. Enjoy your time while you're here. Holy cannoli. All right. So Thursday, enough of me on my little soapbox. Friday is the Virgo moon. We have that void course of moon from 9:51 a.m. Eastern until 11:04. Great day for tying up loose ends, especially during that little void of course moon window. Do simple tasks. Don't force anything. Think of it as a day of reviewing rather than launching. And that Virgo energy is going to help you get things done. So end of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, lean into that Virgo moon. If you've got holiday shopping to do, if you've got stuff you need to wrap up for the end of year, it'll be fabulous. Okay, how can you make the most of it? The sun. Here comes the sun. Bring the joy and the laughter in. Bring the playfulness, the optimism that Mercury and Sagittarius energy, Thursday, Mercury moves into optimism, moves into playfulness. So shape, align, set your thoughts onto things that are uplifting. Like there are phrases or affirmations. One of my favorites from Louise Hay is, all is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Whatever comes from this moment now will be good. I am safe. And even in the most dire of situations, I've turned to that to help me find peace and to be present, because when I am, I can be discerning and I can hear intuitive guidance more easily and take action on that rather than action out of fear, which usually gets me into a deeper hole. All right, Saturday, Libra moon. So now we're moving into a little bit more relationship, harmony, making our world beautiful, just looking for, looking for a chance to connect with the beauty in this world, restore harmony in relationships. So great day for socializing too, Saturday. How to make the most of Saturday's energy. The Magician. You have all the tools you need right at your fingertips. So it's nice to be able to have a guide to show us how to use the tools. And then remember, once you've kind of been guided, you need to make them your own. So the Magician is also about practicing the playfulness of it. Someone in my world just did a piano recital, and it was very exciting hearing them talk about it. And they were talking about the practicing, right? And we show up and we practice and we hone our gifts and our talents. And I think sometimes we don't recognize the gifts or tools in our world because, I don't know about you guys, but I know when I was younger, you just look at some people and they were so innately talented and gifted. Maybe they were flexible. Maybe they were like a prodigy and they were a great musician from the get-go, or they had memory where they could just look at some photogenic, thank you, angels, photogenic memory and memorize everything and be like, oh, wah, wah, I missed that gift when God was handing it out. So, too bad. I can never do it. And then you realize, wait a second. All right, you may not have the innate raw talent, but if you show up and you practice, you can develop an incredible strength within that field or within that creative ability that you can do quite well. Just like singing. Singing is stretching and strengthening our vocal cords. And some people are born with an incredible voice. Awesome. And then others of us really have to work at it. Oh my gosh, it is a huge workout. But we all have to work at these gifts to strengthen them, hone them, to create a certain discipline with them. So Saturday, just kind of as an awareness. Even if you weren't born with it, that's okay. We have Maybelline. No. Even if you weren't born with it, you can still practice and hone it. All right, Sunday, the moon is in Libra, wrapping up the week. Give yourself a moment that if your energy is low, if your batteries have been drained, because Mars, the planet of our energy, is having a little tussle with the planet of our intuition, like, no, I just want to do it. Neptune's like, wait a second. Did you check in with your angels and guides? Because you have access to incredible insider information that if you had that, you might choose differently. Breathe, right? Do the 3 energy management practices that I'm sharing with you today. Bet on yourself, bet on God. Breathe, exit to a quiet space and trust. Do that little prayer saying, okay, God, thank you for giving me free will. And I really would love to know what you think. Point me in the right direction. Fill up my heart. Guide me, direct me. Know that Sunday is not a day for pushing. Let your intuition lead you. Don't make fast, impulsive decisions, but breathe and ground before you take action. Okay, how to make the most of Sunday's energy. Who's popping up? Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands is the just do it card. So Mars is sneaking in their little extra opinion here, but also realizing sometimes when we just do it and we don't give ourselves a chance to recharge and refill our batteries to, fire up or recharge our own flame, we burn out. Queen of Wands can represent burnout. She is a flame and a light to so many people. She's lit up all of these beautiful candles around her, inspired so many. She goes, does, do's. But it's saying, make sure you're resting so that you can continue to be a light for others. If you're not giving yourself a chance to recharge your batteries, whatever and however that looks. And that's why it's nice to know where your moon is when you were born. So like I was saying before, the moon goes through all the zodiac signs, 12 zodiac signs in about a month's time. You've got the moon going through each zodiac sign about 2.5 days. So we get that 28-day cycle or so. When you think about it, when you were born, the moon was in one specific place. It's a snapshot in time. And that is the core way that you connect with your energy, your emotions, your intuition, the way that you process stress. And as the moon changes zodiac signs every day, she's transiting, that affects us, yes, but it affects us based on where was the moon when you were born? What was she doing? So like for me, the moon was in Cancer. So this weekend, when the moon was also in Cancer, that transit, I was very much like, I need to be at home. I need to snuggle on the couch. I want to feel safe. I don't feel like going out into the crowds. I just feel a little too sensitive, a little too raw, emotional. And I could be very compassionate with myself because I know that my moon is in Cancer. And then as we get to this Sunday's energy, when the moon is in Libra, there might be that feeling of like, okay, I'm ready to socialize. I'm ready to get out there a little bit more. But knowing that where it was when I was born, the moon was in Cancer, I'm going to protect my heart and my energy by doing these practices that I shared with you today. So, hey, if you want to know where your moon was and how to work with it, a self-care kind of experience, I do offer a report, irinamiller.co/moon-map. And you can go there, and I'll just put that up on the screen for anybody who's watching, and get a little moon map report from me. That's one of the ways that I love to kind of offer something to you as a starting point to know how to take care of your energy levels, your emotions, your feelings, and not feel like you're completely drained all the time. Great way for energy management. So thank you all so much for being here with me. Just as a quick recap, holy cannoli. I need to slow down. All the intuitive guidance is coming through so fast. I want to go recap of the way to manage your energy this week, how to protect yourself as an empath. Think of it as a bet. You're betting on God. You're betting on your own intuitive guidance from God. Breathe. Nice deep belly breaths. Exit into a quiet space. And trust. Trust that God knows. Ask, hey, show me the way. You know better than I do. I will be done. However you like to say it. And if this has been helpful, please do share it with a friend. It helps out so much to get these practices out. It helps the channel. I'm so grateful to you for being here and for doing this deep healing work. It's changing the world. We don't need everybody to jump on board. We just need the majority of energy, and it adds more light. And just like the Queen of Wands, you light up the next person and they light up the next person. And we live in a very different world. We're connected with our heart. We're connected with love. All right. Much love, Julie. Safe travels, and I'll catch you all on the flip side. Bye, guys.